I forgot the twig. Dirt. Okay, so here we are. Consultant 300. Application, Sea Service, Physical, Drug Test, CPR, Pay.gov, twig. And all of these things generate a whole bunch of questions. Hence, the consultant. Get the best license you possibly can in the shortest amount of time. So what's going to happen in the long run, you're going to submit your application, it's going to soak, and then you take the course while it soaks. Once the Coast Guard sends your letter, you finish the course and submit your certificate of training from the course. You can get a license in like 3 months if you do it that way instead of a year if you try to fumble through it yourself. This is the very best way to get a captain's license. It's counterintuitive, but the very first step is to get a consultant. I have a link to Diamond Marine Services in the description, and this is why. You will end up with the best license for which you qualify in the shortest amount of time with the least hassle. And I'll break it down for you so you could see all the steps involved and why a consultant's so necessary. Okay, let's look at this. Let's break it down and look at this. So the first thing you're going to do is it's a bunch of paperwork, right? You have to get your application in because it takes right now it's June 2022 and the Coast Guard's like 70 days out for an evaluation. They can take up to 90 to evaluate your license, but right now they're like 60 or 70. And so what you don't want to do is spend like $500 on your application, wait 70 days, and then you get a letter telling you all the ways you messed it up. It's infuriating, right? It's really frustrating. So hence the consultant. Let me check this out. So application. The application. You fill out the application, and then that can trigger a disclosure statement. The disclosure statement discloses any convictions you might have had. And the application, the oath part of it, where a notary signs, is kind of designed wrong and a notary won't touch it. So it also triggers an oath form the Coast Guard has. You can use the oath form instead of that part of the application. So you got your oath. Okay. And what happens is you start to go into your application and there's a section that says endorsement desired. And you're like, oh, I just want a 6-pack. But then you start getting into it and you say, what are the qualifications for a 6-pack? Well, the Sea Service qualifications for a 6-pack are the same as an inland and Great Lakes Masters. So now, if you qualify for a 6-pack, you qualify for a Masters. But if you have even more time, you might qualify for a near coastal Masters. And you might have even gained that time in the Great Lakes, which seems like it should be inland, but it's actually near coastal. Again, consultants like a lawyer for $300. It's great. And so application, disclosure, oath, right? And then you have Sea Service. And your Sea Service determines which license you get. And so application, Sea Service, physical. A physical is just, they call it a physical because it makes sense, right? Oh, I'm going to get a physical. Everybody knows what that is. It's actually an application for merchant medical certificate. And I just had one done because I'm renewing my license. And I've been looking at this stuff for 15 years and I still use a consultant because it's so much easier. So a physical, mine costs $100. It actually costs $105, but let's just leave it there. And a drug test. This one costs $100 too. And the consultant, Diamond Marine Services, you order the drug test through Diamond Marine. So they order it. They tell you the closest place to you. They order it. They email you a form that has a barcode on it, and you take it to the place and they scan it, and then the results go to your consultant, Diamond Marine. So it's great because if you go try to drug test yourself at a center, you might not get the right drug test. It might not be controlled by a marine review officer or a medical review officer, an MRO, and all these things will disqualify it from the Coast Guard. And then on top of that, you go to get your drug test, and they say, who's ordering it? And you say, oh, I'm getting drug testing myself. And they're like, that makes no sense. You're not drug testing yourself. What's the chain of custody? And so having the consultant order your drug test is great, and then they get the results. So application, C-service, physical, drug test, CPR and first aid. This one's great. You can do it online. There's a link at the bottom of uscaptainstraining.com. It's like online CPR and first aid, Coast Guard approved. The Coast Guard's approval letter, there's a link to it right on the page. It's this company called Emergency University, and they do it all online, so your practical is via web conference. It's pretty cool. And it's $75, so it's a great price too. Okay, so application, C-service, physical, drug test, CPR and first aid. Above all, consultant, right? You can do this. Diamond Marine Services. It's $300 for their service. And I forgot one thing on this, which is pay.gov. You have to pay the Coast Guard processing and issuance on an original license. It's $145. And Diamond Marine can actually pay that for you. They'll put like a $20 surcharge on it or $10 surcharge, something like that, but they'll pay it for you. So that's the last part here, pay.gov. And it's $145. And I just want to be clear. I've been trying to help people get their captain's license for so long that I made 3 different versions of a video for every section of every form of all these forms, and I put it into a course called USCG Application Packet, and it's included with every course we sell. So if you go ahead and purchase a course, it's going to come with USCG Application Packet, and it's a whole video series and full-on course that I provide for free that teaches you how to do the application. Because over time, it's become very apparent that one of the hardest parts about getting a captain's license is the application. So I'm sitting here like preaching that you should get a consultant to make your life better. And I also include a free course that I put together just for this. So if you're like a DIY person and you really want to do it yourself and dig into it, you're more than welcome. But I find that even if you're like a hardcore DIYer and you really want to learn the process, you might as well get the consultant, because then you can ask the most random questions that are just on your mind and get a really good answer, like a definite answer for these. So we got application, C-service, physical, drug test, CPR and first aid, pay.gov, consultant. This is the entire application. And now we put numbers with it so we can get an approximation of what this thing is going to get you. So let's add the consultant in last, right? Application, C-service. So physical is 100. Mine was actually 105. I took it like 2 days ago, but whatever. The drug test, ordered through Diamond Marine, 100. CPR and first aid, 75. Pay.gov, 145, processing and issuance, right? So 0, 1, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 3, 4. Comes to 420. You add Diamond Marine Services in it, and this keep in mind, this is just the application. It doesn't include the course. Throw Diamond Marine so you don't spend $420, send it all in, wait 70 days to get a letter back that describes all of the different places you messed this application up, and in the meantime you're not even applying for the right license based on your qualifications, because C-service is like this tangled web. And then there's a lot of frustration involved. I highly recommend the consultant. $720. This is about the cost of the whole application process for an original OUPV or master's plus the consultant. And now we'll look at the course. You're either OUPV or master's. And by the way, the consultant, they'll evaluate your C service and they will tell you the best license for which you qualify based on your C service. And like an appraisal of your whole situation and what you're doing. And you might want a master's, but you also might want an OUPV near coastal. Because let's say you want a big license, but you're taking people fishing, only 6. So now you can get an OUPV near coastal, go up to 100 miles offshore, and an inland master's. So if you're not offshore, you can carry unlimited passengers and you end up with a more well-rounded license. So let's look at the course. Online OUPV is $595 and $1750 shipping. So you're at $612.50. So OUPV, $612.50. A master is $795, so you're at $812.50. And this includes textbook, rules of the road book, block island chart, parallel rules and dividers. Like really nice parallel rules. They're 15-inch Weems and Plath with a protractor, and your dividers have a worm screw in it. So they're super accurate, 7-inch ultralight dividers, and the chart is nice too. So you add 720 to these. Let's just do this. And now we're coming up with like a real budget. So 552, 3, 14, 13. And the master is 2, 3, 15. So if you want to get an OUPV, if you budget, so we got $1332.50. If you budget $1,400 or $1,500 for your OUPV, you can come in under budget. So approximately $1,400 if you round up. And that's all, that's your whole application, your consultant, and the course. And here we're over at $1,532. So, you know, I'd say if you had $1,550, $1,550 would be a good budget for a master's. $1,400 is a good budget for an OUPV. That's all in. That's your application, C service, physical, drug test, CPR and first aid, pay.gov. I forgot one. TWIC. It's $125. Oh dang, I forgot it. TWIC. But whatever. We'll just add it in. Forgot the TWIC. TWIC. Transportation Worker Identification Credential. It's $125. I thought this seemed low. So add $125 to this. Add 125. That's more like it. So budget about $1,675 for a master's and about $1,525 for an OUPV. I forgot the TWIC. Dirt. Okay, so here we are. Consultant, $300. Application, C-Service, Physical, Drug Test, CPR, Pay.gov, TWIC. And all of these things generate a whole bunch of questions, hence the consultant. get the best license you possibly can in the shortest amount of time. So what's going to happen in the long run, you're going to submit your application, it's going to soak, and then you take the course while it soaks. Once the Coast Guard sends your letter, you finish the course and submit your certificate of training from the course. You can get a license in like 3 months if you do it that way instead of a year if you try to fumble through it yourself.